Don't have this black culture because the first thing we say, let's join without helping our own self first to get our stuff right. Okay, now I'm changing the subject. Okay, so the subject is changed. Just go out there, shake your ass, and show yourself and scream and holler. But that's what Marcus said.
I said shake your ass.
He said go out there and get it.
And talk to me. We keep it real, we play the field, we get that. What you boys wanna know about me?
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, because we're covering all across the world. This is your host, Mark LeVar, coming to you live on the California Urban Podcast. And man, it's been a long week. I had some traveling that I just completed last weekend. Got a chance to hang out with my cousin. You know, we ended up getting into a little squabble, a little fight at the bar. And,
What alcohol do. That's what alcohol do.
It just let me know how much I miss that dude, man. And so, I miss him so much that if you can look right here, I'm going to bring him into focus right now because I had to bring him to the show. So everybody, welcome to our show. Activist, community man, community leader, right? My number one cousin, Selassie the Great, and we also have the great author Rory M. Smith in the building as well. So yeah, welcome to the California Urban Podcast. Hey man, it's been a lot going on this week politically for sure. We got even in sports, we got the NBA finals about to kick off, and I guess the Knicks then finally made it to that promised land. We'll see what they do with the opportunity though. But to kick off the show, I just want to focus really briefly on what's trending in real estate as far as housing cost. Now, a lot of people come to me with first-time homeowner questions in reference to affordability. And we know that affordability is a huge challenge for all of us in these days. And so, on one end, you have the people that are looking to acquire houses, but at the same time, you also have people that are currently renting. And I'm speaking to the renters right now, because renters, you want to pay attention. You definitely want to pay attention to what's happening as far as the developments that are popping up in your neighborhood. If there is a lot of developments happening in your neighborhood and it seems like you're in one of those neighborhoods that may be undergoing some sort of transition, you definitely want to be aware, and you want to start to prepare yourself for things like rent increases, unauthorized pressure or unwarranted pressure from your landlords. I see that happening quite often. And I just wanted to bring that to you guys' attention, especially coming from the Fillmore district in San Francisco. We underwent gentrification, and that gentrification displaced almost everybody I know, everybody I grew up with, grandmothers to grandbabies. We kind of all were phased out of there using, and they used some of the tactics that I just explained. So I just want to tell everybody, be aware. Follow the developments. If you have a lot of new buildings popping up, or new apartments and new businesses and things of that sort popping up, and like different like parks being refurbished, bike lanes coming through, things like that are the indicators of a mass transition. So you renters, you guys want to be aware of that as well. So that's really all I had on the real estate portion. Last week I gave you guys some hardcore facts about the housing numbers, and that hasn't changed much. You don't when it comes to housing numbers, you don't have huge shifts weekly. So the numbers are pretty much the same. But as far as you guys that are renting out there, be aware. Definitely pay attention to the term of your lease, and stay in cahoots with your landlord as well. I know a lot of times we don't like to talk to the landlord, but it's good to know what the landlord has on their mind, as far as the units that you are living in. Are they thinking about selling, especially if a neighborhood has experienced an increase in equity, right? So just stay in cahoots with your landlord, monitor the developments that are happening, and always work on your credit and your savings just in case you do need to make that jump to a new place.
Let me ask you a question. With the interest rate, has it went down or is it stabilized? And what is the interest rate, or can you negotiate it lower at this particular moment?
That's a good question.
So,
That's a good question. Interest rates are pretty much the same as they were last year. They're in sixes, right? And for a while, there was a huge rumor that they were going to lower the interest rates, but it just didn't happen per the economy. It's just not happening. People got so comfortable and so accustomed to the interest rates of 2016, 17, 18, 19, but they're forgetting that those interest rates span from a huge economic collapse of 2007 and 2008. So after the economic collapse, the Fed had to lower interest rates because the economy collapsed. So our economy is not in that state right now. So the Feds are going to continue to tease the rates very, very, very ever so slightly. But they are down from a year ago, and they were in the sevens a year ago. But now they're in the sixes, and they're pretty much staying there.
and this is the last question I have for you. They just announced today that AI is the greatest invention in history. And so when they announced it is going to affect the real estate industry. It's going to affect the law industry. It's going to affect a lot of things that AI is going to take the place of the real estate agent soon. And so what do you think about how they're implementing AI? And now that they announced it today on the news that it's the greatest invention in modern time. So what do you think, how is AI going to affect you and affect real estate people that want to come in to be a real estate agent now?
Yeah, I would heavily advocate for you to do something different than to become a real estate agent. AI is also it's also affecting things like appraisals as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because of the very nature of AI. It's a system that aggregates information over information over information, and it's able to make draw these conclusions and do these like virtual determinations that are very accurate in most cases. So it's going to, if it hasn't already, erase the real estate agent totally. There's no need for a real estate agent if you can listen to. You don't even have to read anymore if you can just type in a prompt, right?
Yeah.
So I don't see a bright future for real estate agents at all when it comes to AI and
Real
technology. Yep.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. That's why I was asking these questions, because you are the real estate man and you bring it to us every week. And so we're going to get into a topic that Selassie, which is my family, which we know as Avery. But I want to also, before we get into this topic with him, I want him to speak out on his new album and where you can get it. And before we get started, so he can speak on that right quick and his music. And then we'll get into my topic of the politician. So Avery, you got the flow, baby.
Hey, y'all. First off, thank you for having me on the show. I'm glad that y'all continuing to keep it going, because like with these podcasts and things like that, I think a lot of it is quality over quantity. So, you can put out a lot of stuff and it don't have a lot of quality to it, but, just stay consistent with this. And I think you guys got something really cool, and I'm glad to be a guest first off. So my album, my latest album is El Negrito Poeta. It's 25 tracks, and you can get it off my website, iamselassie.com. El Negrito Poeta is my only album that's not streaming. Like, you can't get it from a stream. You have to get that one directly from me. But there are previous albums out there on streaming platforms. So just my name's Selassie, SELLASSIE. You put that in there, like my cousins was talking about. You put in there the AI overview, my name, and I was looking at that the other day, like, damn, like I didn't give this Google all this stuff about me, but you type my name in the AI overview, you'd be like, whoa. So I was tripping off of that. I didn't know about that feature, but my girl told me that. So I was like, damn. So anyway, yeah, you can get it from there, but it's cool. I do conscious, political, progressive hip hop.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing because his music is excellent. It's good. You ought to, tune into him and get that music. But at the same time, we're going to get into a little bit of the political thing. And we also have another guest coming in, a fireman coming in. We're going to share something and talk about fire season. But at the same time, we're talking about the crisis that we're having in the political realm on how the country, the Mr. USA of America, how it is actually being run. The one thing I want to discuss with both of y'all is going to say, to me, reading the Constitution, I realized that the Constitution was only written for white men. Sure. It was never written for any other nationality in America, and the Constitution has not been changed. And I always tell people you have to listen to Republicans. We stand one nation under God. It has nothing to do with democracy. Democracy is state driven. It's state driven by certain governors that want to operate democracy, but it has not yet been put into the Constitution. So that's why when people holler about we're losing our no, because you didn't write it in to the Constitution. You had plenty times with Clinton, Biden, Obama. You had plenty times when we had the Congress, Senate, and the presidency to be able to put democracy in there. And so today you see the out of control where they're letting a guy just sign executive orders, letting him misuse the Constitution. But when people don't realize that the Constitution was just meant for white men to run. We were all second citizens, and we wasn't even considered human, a third of a human. So it has not changed. So what do you think about that, Avery? I wonder, because you're very on history and political, you are high level when it comes to politics.
I appreciate that, big cousin. I mean, I guess the political state of the day. I mean, I like we were mentioning earlier. In my mind, is very corrupt, and what I see very clear is that people who have a white supremacist agenda, a white supremacist mindset, they are losing their mind from everything that they see, how the world is changing. So they're becoming like extinct, the people that have a mindset of what you're talking about, 1776, the Constitution, when it was all white men. If you would get those presidents and all of those people, Patrick Henry and Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson and James Madison and George Washington and all of those forefathers that were the signers of the Constitution, to see what's going on now, their experiment, that they would lose their mind. They would turn over in their graves because they see that this country is multicultural. They see that this country is not what they planned it to be for them. And right now, they're just really losing their mind. Everywhere you look, they're losing power. Everywhere you look, if you have a white supremacist dominated mind, and it doesn't mean like a white supremacist like the KKK. I'm talking about where you have a white supremacist mind where you think that white is dominant, white is the main thing. If you have that mindset, all you have to do is look around and see that your world is shrinking. So you are doing anything and everything that you can do to try to maintain this.
Hold on to that word. Yeah.
They're trying to do anything and everything that they can do to maintain this false dominance that is not going to last. It's just going to crack. It's just going to go away. Back in the day, they was tripping off of white girls being with black dudes. Now you got white boys being with black dudes. You know what I mean? so you got everywhere you look, it's not going in their favor. So they tripping. And
Right.
so they going and I'm convinced that they'll rather burn it all the way down than
I was
let
telling
them have
somebody
it.
that. I was saying, look, they let 10,000, they asked in South Africans that's white, please come in here to help us, because what people fail to realize, they the oldest citizens in America. They the 80 and 90-year-olds, believe it or not. Most of them are like 70%,
Right.
and then at the same time, it's like 46, 47,000, no, 47% of the cultures combined, and they down to like 52 to 53%. And in 15, 20 years, they'll be 40%.
Right.
See, this is what, and so why you think they want to mix, make babies with black women, with Spanish women, with Asian women? They try, because their women are not having children. They
Well, and then,
averaging one children, and so
yeah.
we don't know what's going on with that. So many of their women saying, "I just want a man to have a baby with now,"
Well,
and,
yeah. If you think about it, if you look at when I see white men, they generally not even with white women. They with Asian women.
right,
If you look, if I see white women, they might be, depending on if they're European or whatever, but just, on the general sense, you know, I was telling cousin the other night, in my mind and my history, people have been making love and being together for thousands of years. So
that's true.
that's never going to change. And um, the idea of race, people being divided by race, color, is something that was developed in the capitalism and the transatlantic slave trade that has nothing to do with world history. With people being looked upon as your color, it was never like that. Um, we would be Roman citizens back in Rome, and it wouldn't be of our color. It's because we're in allegiance to Rome. Just like right now, we're Americans. We're not original Native Americans, but we Americans. It's the same type of thing. So when you look at it like that, race was used from the people who benefited from slavery and the system that created capitalism. So I just never bought into that race theory because I wasn't going a slave to my oppressor's thought pattern. So race is a relatively new thing on the scale of history. If you go back 2,000 years, race looking at somebody from their color was basically started about 1480 to now.
1,600 years ago.
Yeah, well, I'm saying 600 years ago, like or like.
Well,
like,
it got where it got recognized, but
yeah,
it
yeah, like
began
where because
1,600 years ago, and
right.
then when a certain culture started getting into power, the words, because if you really think about the European culture, they really named everybody these evil names, Spics, Beanos, niggas, all that came from them.
Well, yeah,
And
this
when
is
you
where
think about,
the race thing came from
yeah,
when in 1442 when the
yeah,
Spanish and the Portuguese were fighting for power and they
mhm,
were beginning to get in the slave trade. The Pope was the one who sanctioned them to go out and to participate in the slave trade. So
right,
the word pagan has nothing to do with anything but meaning that you don't
that's
believe in
right,
Christ. So,
right,
so the Christians enslaving the Africans had to justify their behavior. So
right,
you can't justify enslaving a human. You have to dehumanize it. You have to make them a dog. You have to make them a slave.
that's
You have
right,
to do something. So that was their tactic of domination. I call it the dynamics of domination. How they dominated with that idea, but it really just picked up in North America. But people don't really look at race around the world like it's fixated on America because America was built off of
oh,
slavery and racism. You can't have America without
without that, right.
without that. It would not exist.
And I
So,
tell you, what I explain to people is that me and you both do a lot of studying history. Some people say a lot of us from Africa, and I say a lot of us is not. We are the original land people here, and the Indians that they want to call Indians, that's the second wave of generation of people. We taught them how to farm. We taught them how to eat. We taught them how to hunt. We taught them. The thing is, history has a way of repeating itself. And so no gene, very few genes last more than 500 years. The Romans last a good 2,800 years. That was very rare. And the only reason they last that long because Hannibal decided not to filled his glory and finish that situation off. So I always look at the world as destiny for it to be this way. Some kind of way that the world this is destiny to be this way. But how can we survive in it? You know, eventually, how can we survive in it? Eventually, it's always going to be more poor people, more, and the poor people don't realize how powerful they are. The biggest problem that I have with poor people, we fall in line and we bow down and we get on our knee. But it's millions, it's billions of us compared to a few 100,000 in every country. It's only a few 100,000 or maybe a million in America that's super elite. All the rest of the people are middle class or poor. And when you look at that, what if the poor people ever decided to say, I'm not going to be hypnotized and just turn around and look at you? They can overwhelm you if we wanted to. But the key is, whoever's in charge, will they do the same thing? That's the thing when I be saying history repeats itself. Because when I open up the Quran and the Bible, them are not white people. Them are black people. People of color that ruled the world at that time. There were people that was brown from the Egypt, from the Hyksos, from all the people, from the Nubians and all these people. And even Greek mythology is black. Even North mythology is black. Even Buddhism is black. All that, well, I'm not saying black like American, but they were people of color or dark. The Ethiopians was some of the first theologies that was ever even written. And so how do we determine whoever's going to be in charge is going to be a fair system? I just think man is built to rule, and some will rule with hate for power. And we are easy to convince to follow.
I agree with you in a lot of ways. I think that America is not the place for us right now. I think that because America is such of a big lick, America is just a big lick. It's been a big lick, like I told you, like they had free slavery and transatlantic slavery for over 350 years, longer than this nation has been accepted since 1776 to now, which would be 250 years. Slavery and the expulsion of the Native American was going on for 450 years.
54.
So my point in saying this is that the African American Negro is the only person that does not have a connection with his geographical reference.
No.
We're the only one that comes from nigger land or Negro land or black land. We don't know a goddamn thing about Africa, and us not having that connection, we're always going to be in the diaspora of madness.
And we also see the strange part. That's why I say this. Our true history is hidden, who we really are. I always tell people the animals in America is older than the animals in Africa. You ever think about that? People don't understand. Most of your dinosaurs come from here in this part of this continent.
Okay.
And when you think about how old the woolly mammoth and the saber-toothed tiger and all that.
We're going to welcome Sherman right now.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay. So out of all of these things, and this is what I tell people, out of all these things, Africa is actually a young country. The animals are not older than the animals. The camel is older than the elephant. If you start studying, really studying, you'll realize that our real history is hidden from us. They do not tell us our geographic. We've been in America for hundreds of thousands of years. These people we've been here for a long time. And to say that we traveled from Africa, no, most of your slaves didn't come from Africa in this part of the country. Not here, not this part of the country. Maybe 10%.
Well, let me break it down in a different way. Everybody originated in sub-Saharan Africa by Mozambique. Now, most people believed in a monogenetic existence, but it's been proven that we're from a polygenetic existence, to where that people didn't originate on different parts of the planet. They originated in one part in Africa, and they moved out of Africa, and they populated other
You
parts
can't
of the
prove
world.
that.
But that's where pretty much has been proven.
No, but common sense tell me.
Well,
that's what the.
I go. Well, let me finish, because I go with bones. I go with bones, and so
I understand that.
and so there's been 6 bone types. Gracile, robustus, Homo habilis. Neanderthal, Homo sapien. So the 3 oldest bone types that aren't found any other place on the planet. Habilis, robustus, and the other one, they're only found in Africa.
And it's also 27 species of man been on the earth and woman.
So the oldest bones that are only found in Africa, those ones, Neanderthal, Homo erectus, and Homo sapien. Those are the ones that left Africa. Those are the ones that left Africa and went and populated other parts of the world. So over a time of 50,000 years, 60,000 years, that African that left Africa, that from bones, not religion, not mythology.
I understand that.
But left Africa, went to Europe, dealt with many ice ages, dealt with many climate changes, many dietary changes, and mutated. The nose got thinner because of being in a different climate. The hair became thinner. The skin became thinner. So my point is that everybody originated from Africa originally. That's been proven.
So what would you say about the pyramids and the things they found in Antarctica, and that the species that's hidden under the ice that's melting now, they're starting to discover, because the satellites can look through the earth and they seeing life that was created that's even much older than the life that was in Africa. They haven't been able to get to it yet, but eventually behind that wall, technology is found. We don't know the truth of the earth. These are all written, and these are all things that people say. So sometimes life is just to control situations, to control life. From what I'm seeing, if the oldest dinosaur bones that they have discovered has been in the United States, then, and the animals that's in Africa are the youngest species. They're not older than the woolly mammoth. They're not older than the T-Rex. And even the animals before them are found outside the bones. And even giants, wait a minute.
Oh, no.
Even giants are being discovered, had the enormous bones, not in Africa. So what do we call that species? There's been 27 species of humans, human type people been on this earth. They got 27 different skulls, different shapes been on this earth. And nobody discussed that.
I only know of 6. I don't know of 27.
Pull them up. Just Google, right?
We'd have to.
All you got to do is Google.
Yeah, we'd have to go into that a little bit more deeper. I don't know about
that. You know he write comic books, man.
Yeah, so
well, everybody,
wait a minute.
Check it out. Let's introduce Sherman and why I bought the magical Sherman Tillman, Captain Tillman from San Francisco. The man, I don't know if he's the chief yet, but he's retired. But anyway, he does a syndicated show. I want him to explain his show. It's very political. He hits some stuff that I don't even think about. So when you watch his show, he say things that just make you go, where did Sherman get this? And the way he does his show, he stays in shape. He walks. He has a walking podcast. It's so interesting. I saw it used to have 1 or 2 people. Now he got hundreds, and they coming and they just filling up watching the show, and it's impressive. And so what I wanted him to do is talk about the show, but I also am here to get him to spread that love about how you can protect your house and why certain questions I want to ask him, why certain things ain't done before fire season. And so, Sherman, you got the floor to tell us about your show and tell us who you are and everything like that.
How you doing, Roy?
How you doing?
All right, brother. Well, I do a podcast called Walking with Sherm. At first, I also do a Formula One podcast with a bunch of Formula One people. And then I wanted to do more of a political podcast, but I didn't want to do it in the same format that everybody does it. And I didn't want to do one where it's like 2 hours and an hour and a half. I just wanted to walk and talk. And I just thought of it. I'm like, I walk every day and I have all these ideas and I know all these political people and I've been in the political arena. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just start walking and talking and doing it that way and doing a show and bringing up things that maybe people don't know about politics, like the seen but not seen, the things that people who are connected know, but they don't really say and they don't really tell everybody about, because most of the public don't really know how it actually works. They only think they know because of the television and what they show you on television. But there's a lot of other things that are involved that are kind of, we don't supposed to talk about it. But so I just branched out and started doing it, and just, I don't really care about the traditional format. I just want to do something different. That's all.
I can think.
So I got something for you, Sherman.
Yeah.
About a few years back, this is one of the young men that did the starving politics, and y'all was out there taking care of them when y'all were firemen. Remember when for the political thing, they was starving themselves in San Francisco?
It was called the Frisco Five.
Remember that?
No.
Yeah, it was under Ed Lee's regime. It was under,
Ed Lee?
It was under old Ed Lee, right? And,
Ed Lee, yeah, man.
And
it
was when London was the director of she was the president of the board of supervisors. So that was like 2016.
Okay, yeah, I went with former Mayor Lee to Washington D.C. when the Warriors first won their first championship.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. My colleagues, my associates, they were really on Ed Lee. I didn't have anything against him personally, but politically, we were foes, as far as
of course,
but my colleagues and my comrades were more personal, but with their vitriol towards him. But I didn't take it personal. So
I mean, the crazy thing about politics, and I think a lot of people don't understand, is it's by what the topic is or whatever the subject is. I can disagree with you on this, but on something else, we could be aligned. And that's what people don't really understand. And when they first get into politics, they're like, damn, he was really rude to me on this. And, and then the next thing you know, they're calling you up about something else because you're aligned on that. And so it's really about whatever that topic. Because I remember Willie Brown, back in the day, I was fighting the cell phone towers.
Right.
And he was adamant because the city got money from the cell towers, right? So he was like, I don't believe it, because I was showing, this is way back before people started knowing that cell towers were dangerous to your body and cause cancer. And so I was kind of the one to really implement that here in the city and fight against it. And I remember talking to Willie, and he was like, I don't believe you, and that's it. And I don't want to hear nothing else, because the city was making money.
Yeah.
But then a month later, he was with me on something else. So then I started to learn that it's not personal. It's just on this topic, we don't agree. But on this next one, we could be together. And so once you get over that hump of believing that, oh, this guy's an ass because he won't do what I say on this, or he won't align with me on that. Hey, man, something else down the road might come, and you guys might be thick as thieves. And then on the next topic, he hates your guts again.
Yeah, definitely. Especially in like you say, that activism in the political realm. Like I was always taught, you never write a bad memo, because you never know who you're gonna meet down the line. One day somebody is in the transportation department, like Gavin Newsom with Willie Brown, and then he's the mayor. So. You never write a bad memo, because people will remember that.
I was
That's
like,
right.
I told them the story. I said, if it wasn't for Willie Brown, black people would have lost their jobs 10 years prior. He saved our jobs for 10 years before the big layoffs come with Gavin Newsom for black people in the city. Willie Brown came in and stepped in and saved a lot of park and rec, a lot of meter maids, a lot of things that they was trying to implement to get rid of African American. So it gave us another 10 years when he won the mayorship for 2 years, 2 terms.
I think in San Francisco, black people don't have enough political power to maintain control of the city. Meaning that we don't fuck with each other.
That's it right there.
We don't fuck with each other. So if you don't fuck with each other, and then everybody else is doing everything for you, and they placate you with entertainment, they'll give you money for budgets to do concerts and shit like that. But you not owning nothing. You don't have no real estate. So San Francisco, it's like a big lick to me. Like it's a big gaffle, because they don't care about you. They don't want you there. And if you're not going to do something on your own to preserve your own legacy, what's the point? Like that's been going on for 30, 25 years, 20 years, 15 years. Like, what are we doing besides, what do they say? Ceremony that lacks substance. A lot of ceremony, but no substance.
Well, Avery, I'll tell you a story. So when I was the secretary for the NAACP of San Francisco, I said to when Amos Brown was the president, I told them, and Arnold Townsend was the vice president, and I told Arnold. So me and Arnold were cool, man. I mean, Arnold was the reason why, because I was the president of the Black Firefighters, and Arnold was the reason why I joined the NAACP. Because he got down like I got down. He just wanted to get the job done, man. He didn't care about all this other left, right, all this other bull. But I was talking to him, and I was like, they got all these different trenches of black folks in San Francisco. Everybody got their little lane. And I said, why don't we get under the NAACP umbrella? Let's get all the presidents and all the brothers together. And then we could have like a list. Like if something happened, you could text me and I could send 3 people to this meeting. And if everybody sent 3 people to this meeting, we got 30, 40 brothers at this meeting and sisters. And you know how we see, if there are 30 of us, it seems like 300, right?
Right.
And so I was always trying to say, let's get everybody on like a hotline, a text line. And because that's what the Asian brothers and sisters do, okay? Because I've seen how they work, and I said let's implement the same thing. And nobody wanted to do it. And you want to know why? Because they just wanted their little piece of the pie. That's all they cared about.
Wow. Yeah, that's what it is. It's a sick thing. Like, wow, they just wanted their little piece of the pie.
Little piece.
Yeah,
that's it.
I was walking in San Francisco the other day, and I just walked down Powell Street just to walk through there. I just was like, look at all these Asian people just supporting their own in 2026 in San Francisco. The whole little Powell Street, Pacific Jackson, they running it. I'm like, niggas can't do nothing.
Nothing.
As far as to put a play together that has some substance.
Well, let me say this to both of y'all, because I'm older than both of y'all, and all y'all. The strange part about these societies is that's the smartest thing they did. See, any culture that comes in here can come in here because of us. The laws we were able to create. It's a shame that everybody say you violated my civil rights. Every culture can say you violated my civil rights now, when that should be only us. Just like they got the Jewish law, they got the Chinese law, they got the gay law, but civil rights wasn't supposed to be for nobody but black people. And so for us to sit there and allow everybody to say you violated our civil rights and stuff, that was basically built for us to keep ourselves together. Now, the problem, like I said, the problem with us is that our leaders, and I'm not talking about the ones that got killed, the leaders that we have today do not live in our communities anymore. They live in their communities. They discuss their issues, our issues, with the people in there. They live. When our top preachers leave, they go to that community. They don't stay. Most of our churches, pastors lived in the community. None of our rich people, none of our athletes, none of them, they leave, they go to that community, and that's where their money's at. They do not put their money back in our community. The problem with America today, there is a change that's never going back. And I just think people got to learn to move forward in a different kind of way, because we're not going back to the old particular the way things is. Black kids don't even know their history. They don't know nothing about anything. And it ain't about a black thing in America no more. It's about, can we get rights for everyone? Can we get everybody to work? Can we get all our kids have a chance no matter what color they is? That's what we're asking for as a people. But I'm gonna move forward. Okay, you can go ahead. Then we're gonna move forward to the questions I want to ask you about the fire.
Okay. Well, I thought it was interesting back in the day when London had that Dreamkeepers thing, right? And she had this Dreamkeeper initiative, and originally it was supposed to be for Black people. And then soon as she announced it, damn near probably 12 hours later, the Asian community was like, what about our money? And then about the next day after that, the transgender community and the gay community, everybody wanted a piece of what was supposed to be just for us. And I remember sitting in this meeting, and that Marcus can remember, because I was trying to get him a grant, and I had him go. Remember, Marcus? I had you go in on some of those meetings late at night.
Yeah.
And all these other communities were in there with their hands out to take the money that was supposed to be just for us, and we got this instead of this because everybody else had their hands out.
Well,
and it's the same thing that they're talking about when they're talking about this reparations that they keep talking about. Watch how many people actually have their hand out other than us.
Wait a minute, Sherm. That's exactly what I was going to transition to, because as long as we keep the topic under things like civil rights, I mean, the other communities, they do have a right to ask for their just due under codes like a civil rights, because civil rights do belong to every citizen.
But it don't.
We need, as far as Black people, period, point blank, reparations. Give us that. Let's fight for that. And then after we receive some form of that, then we can go to the civil rights, and everybody can come in and, and different programs for like human rights. That's fine, but we never got our just due when it comes to reparations. Period.
Well, I'll tell you why you never will. Just like Brother Tillman was saying, we don't have no friends. Exactly what he said. The Jewish community, the Asian community, all of these communities, they coexist with us, but they don't have our interests. So you could go to any Black community, and why do all of the Arabs own the store and making millions of dollars off Black people every single day?
Because they were told that's where they can open their businesses.
The first thing that they do when they come in there is say, hey, how's it going, brother? How's it going, boss? And, try to talk our language and all that type of stuff. So I learned from John Henry Clark, rest in peace. You have no friends, brother. You have no friends.
Nope.
So that's
a great author.
So when Macho's saying, reparations, beat it, brother. You ain't got no friends.
And the cool part is when I was sitting in the original reparations meeting, this was under London, when it first started. We were in the room, because I was in that room. And there was, I want to say, about 16 people around the table. And you go around the room and you introduce yourself, and they start talking. And then about an hour and a half into that meeting, I go, this ain't gonna never happen. I can just tell. I can tell right away. And I told them, I said, are we actually gonna get down to brass tacks and how we gonna get this money, or y'all just gonna sit around here and spin wheels?
No, sure. That was my exact, listen, we almost said that verbatim. You can ask Selassie. Me and Selassie used to have these conversations 3-4 years ago. Hey man, it's simple. cut the check. I don't want to hear about
Well,
you can get some education for free.
Let me tell you,
can do
let me tell Sherman
job.
something.
No, cut the check, and we will figure out what to do with our own money and our own time.
Well, wait, let me finish up this story real quick.
Keep it
before
simple.
You have no friends.
So after the first meeting, we come back for the second meeting. And then I could tell they were all, instead of talking about cutting checks to individuals, it was to send it to this program, send it to that program,
I told
send
you,
it to
Avery.
this nonprofit.
That's exactly what I told you,
NGO. And then I said, well, then how are people going to get the money if you get it?
Yeah.
Because you're going to use it for the electric bill.
Wait a minute, Sherm.
You're going to use it for a trip here.
Watch this, Sherm. They start saying shit like, well, every person gets a free education from the university. Fuck the university. Who gives a fuck about the university?
But this the funny part. But this the funny part. Let me say this. The person that people don't know about behind the scenes was Amos Brown. So he went behind the scenes and he said, he wants to control all the money and he would give it out. And this is where the fault happened. This is where the earthquake happened and the rumble, and it went out. He said all the money should come to him and for him, and he'll distribute it out to grown ass people or people like Sherman, you, me. We know what to do with our own damn money. So I'm trying to figure out, all I knew is that's never going to happen. Well, the reason I knew it wasn't going to happen because this society, if they give us money to the people of this color, they trying to say if they give us money, this is their way of saying they apologize. And today's white people do not want to say they apologize for what they have done wrong. They are not going to ever give us.
But I want you guys to understand this. Just from 2020 to 2024, I seen a lot of brothers living good in Fillmore. So in San Francisco, with a lot of money flowing around there. Now, I'm not saying that it was wrong or it was corrupt, but I'm saying that we had an opportunity to do something. And just like I kind of hear that everybody got their little piece of the pie and like divvied it out. I know everybody in San Francisco with the exception of a lot of different people, but the people that I know that got nonprofits, that are really close with City Hall, they was rolling up in new cars in the TL where I was hanging out. I'm in Lakeview, they rolling up all my bosses. So people was getting checks.
A lot of them are going to jail.
People was getting money.
For some reason, a lot of them are going to jail.
That's cool.
I'm not saying anything about that other than, there was black people running the city, there was black people doing things, and there was checks being cut.
Brothers had jobs. And when I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm gonna tell everybody and that ever watched this show, everybody that ever look at black people as minstrel shows or anything like that, or judge us. Don't judge how we show up. Because in that same vein, those black organizations that got funded provided jobs for black people too. Also, they did community, they built community services as well. So we can't look at a small demographic of people who maybe have mismanaged some public funds. Look at our president of the United States. If we want to talk about mismanaging funds, this is the president.
Man, don't get us blown up.
It's like, hey, I got a gold chain on now. That doesn't mean, oh my God, look what he did with his paycheck. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you're doing that, but I'm letting you guys know I've heard that rhetoric about what happened in San Francisco when it comes to black people getting money, and I don't like it. Don't talk about black people getting money. Keep the money coming. I know a whole lot of black people that are working in San Francisco, Oakland, LA that are doing great things. The brothers on this podcast right now are all of us doing great things.
Well, if you look at it like this, how I look at it, because I look at it as Black people are a communal people. They're not an individual people. I feel like we're at our worst when we're individual. I feel like we're at our best as a communal people. So when I look at San Francisco on the outside looking in, I continue to not see Black progress besides having on an orange vest, sweeping up some trash, or having a job.
Yeah.
I'm talking about having more in San Francisco, having more control, more power. So it was very shocking to me to see an African American be the mayor, and I didn't see any progress in the city with African Americans besides Black people having on an orange vest, sweeping up trash, and maybe having other. Maybe having nonprofits and things like that, going back to, hey, let me feel my individual feel, but collectively we don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of.
Yeah, but we also need time
let
to
me say this.
execute,
Let me say this though.
She wasn't in there long enough to really have a real impact either.
But let me say this. I don't like when you say that either. You wasn't in there long. You was in there 6 years. The issue is this.
Isn't there 7?
7. Most people can make an impact in 2 years. That politics of here and there. You can't be talking about all that. I'm not tripping on that. The fact is, there ain't no Black people in San Francisco. They all done moved out. So the sit up. First of all, let me finish. The sit up and say all this. Our power was in the 60s.
Exactly.
Our power was in the early 70s and the 60s and 50s in San Francisco. We came here in the 30s and 40s. We took the Italian. When the Prohibition was over, we took the Italians' place. We took Lakeview, Double Rocks, whatever. That was all Italian. Black people moved in. Black people moved into them areas. Okay. And so we sold out in the 70s.
Bingo.
Okay, so to sit up and talk about the people today, no, the people today are the people from the 80s, from the crack, from the hardest eras of the world, the 80s and 90s. Them babies that's coming are not educated, don't know, and they will slowly, they slowly infiltrated us out of San Francisco. We can't even rent a goddamn room. A room in San Francisco is $3,000 a month. The average Black man in America makes $44,000 a year. The average Black woman makes $37,000 a year. Who you think we gonna live? It barely can live in Vallejo.
And then look at focus a little bit, Roy.
Look at like I was saying, like I was saying, like Black people in San Francisco. You made a great point, Roy. The political power. The power in San Francisco has been gone decades. So the Black people that are in San Francisco, the enclave that they in Fillmore is, I mean, you couldn't even describe, I'm going to say the decimation of the community, but the extinction of the community. And the fact that you said there is no political consciousness in the community, with the exception of the people that are, there is no high numbers of people that can really make an influence in San Francisco that are Black. And when they were there, they didn't do it. So, you have to look at when Black people were in the crack and all of that stuff and all of that shit, and we were going through everything and we were highly populated in the city, what we did, when we had it. So they have an excuse to be like, well, look at what they had. Look at what they did when they had it. Look at what they did when they was running around in San Francisco and the population was 19% in San Francisco. And then, now it's 2% or 3% or whatever. So, yeah, you make a great point.
But you got to remember, San Francisco.
I think Sherman was about to say something.
I know. Let me say it. But the political, when it comes to San Francisco look at 30 years out. Any power people plan 30 years ahead of time how they gonna see stuff. They knew that the Black people were living on the solidest rock in the city.
You have to center your camera.
Double Rock, Hunters Point, they living on the most expensive land. The only one they got left to clean up is Hunters, and the reason they doing that late before they clean up all that radioactivity, them old pipes and whatever, that water, when they clean that up, and then they complete their goal. That's why they haven't built another stadium out there. They took it downtown. They couldn't build because of what's underneath that dirt. So I'm gonna turn it back into Sherman, and then we're gonna get it. But I gotta turn it back.
Before we gotta go. I just want to say that I was raised in San Francisco with Oba
Yeah.
Tishaka, over at the African American Culture Center.
Yeah.
Professor Caillou, the black professor over at
Yeah.
Berkeley that used to come over at the African American Culture Center.
Yeah.
So Karen over there at Marcus Books, I used to go sit and talk with Karen for hours and go read books in Marcus Books over there. So the politically conscious black person in San Francisco that was there decades, gone.
Yes.
Gone.
But you can't, but you had people, and I'm going to say this to you. When Willie Brown came, he did a lot. He saved us for 10 years. You got people like Sherman that's going to help plenty black people become firemen, jobs, all that. So don't think there ain't there's still political people there that's doing things that's black, but we don't have what they call the numbers to make a difference. But there's still political people there that's still fighting for what we have. That's what's left. They're not trying. They're gonna fight to that. Sherman lives in Sarasota. He's gonna fight to the day he die.
Exactly.
He's gonna fight to the day he die to keep what little black people we got left. There's still some conscious people that understand what's going on. Okay,
not like it was in the 80s and 90s.
No, you can't. It's a different world.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it was in the 80s and 90s.
I'll give you a prime example. They saying there's 46 million black people. It's been 46 million black people in America for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
We haven't progress. We haven't grown. They got 5 million brothers in prison and 400,000 women in prison. Okay. And then now you got man on man and women on women. We're not reducing like we're supposed to. Okay, and it's 8 to 1. One black man, and a lot of black men are dating out their race because of the conscience of how we acting. And it's hard to raise children, to get a good wife, to raise them, to do things the right way. So it's a very political situation, but we got to move forward. And I'm going to let Sherman say what he's going to say, and then we got to get to the fire thing. So Sherman, you got the floor.
2 points that you guys touched on. And what I wanted to do, because the numbers are down, and so I wanted to get all the regional NAACPs together, like Oakland and Vallejo, and get all of them together. And so instead of making a citywide thing, make it a Bay Area thing, because that's where our numbers are, because all our people are outside of the city.
You just said that.
But they're all from the city, but they're all outside of the city.
That's right.
Okay.
But we still can get together.
So I was trying to say, okay, let's flip this script. Let's make it Bay Area NAACP, and then we have more cachet, we have more power. That way, if something go down in Oakland, we can all go to Oakland and get down. If something happened in San Jose, we can all go to San Jose and get down. And then we can make our hub San Francisco, because that's where all the money is. But, anytime you bring up something, it's sad. And I've always said we are our own worst enemy. And I've always said this. I've been saying that for 30 years.
Now, what you just said is perfect. And I'm going to say this to all of y'all. Now, we got to quit chasing these old societies, the NAACP. We got to stop chasing them. They're old. They won't listen.
Are. But what
they won't listen. What I'm saying is, sir, to y'all, to Avery, to Marcus, to you, y'all still got a little energy left. For my age, I got some energy, and I'm willing to get in there. But we have an opportunity to create another organization while we're still alive, with young folks, bringing in some young 20-year-olds that's in college, that's educated, that's working. We can get some 30-year-olds and we got an opportunity to put an organization together, and maybe we could charge out with $25 a year for each member. That starts out newsletter. That starts something. Maybe we should start recruiting and doing this, because I think when you run away and we count on these people are old. And they don't have it no more. I looked at, when I go out to I went to the San Jose thing with black organization, and I saw how older the people is. And the first thing I told my girlfriend I went with, well, you got to start recruiting younger. And she, so it's the same thing. We got to start recruiting younger people, like Marcus' son is just turned 18. Maybe we bring him in a little bit while he's in college. He's organized a few guys to come to the meeting. I think we can do this through Zoom, through the internet. You can meet, we can start organizing, and when something go down, we get out there ourselves. Because I think it can happen, but you have to reach the younger people to spread the news. And they have to have some leaders that's older and younger. There has to be a mix, not one old dude is over everything. Like,
Oh, 100%.
it got to be a mixture.
But you know what sums up everything that we're talking about is that Fillmore Center, right on Fillmore, and that's been dilapidated, and no one's been in there for I don't know how long. You know, the Asian community can get the Asian Museum for $1, but we can't get the Fillmore Center for $100 or $1,000 or $10,000 or anything. No amount of money, they don't want to give it to us. And I remember when London, we were trying to get it under London. And then they had that shooting. They had the one brother that had the funeral there, and somebody had got shot.
I remember.
And we were making progress with getting it because we were like,
right when that happened. You're right. Right when that happened.
And then when that brother got shot, that was the end. I said, and then we got Danny Glover to come out, and we got all these people, and we're getting all these people, you know, motivated to get the Fillmore Center and keep it in the hands of the brothers and sisters in the Fillmore. And when that brother got shot there, that was that. They said, they can't take care of it.
I think, like you said, Roy made a good point that not the class, but the state of the brothers in San Francisco. When he said they're not educated, that doesn't mean they're not dumb or that they're dumb or that they're like unworthy, but they're not politically conscious enough to make a dent in San Francisco way of life or politics. The numbers are small and the community is not educated enough on where it needs to be. They're being used. People in San Francisco, black people, I feel, are being used. They're being used everywhere you look, like the Asians, the Mexicans. I look at it like this. Back in the day, it was white people, black people, Mexicans, Asians. Now, you got white people, Asians, Mexicans, and black people. So we didn't just drop down. We continuously drop down. White, black, Mexican, Asian. Now, white, Asian, Mexican, black. So we just continue to keep dropping down because...
So you know, you could throw Mexican and you could throw black out.
Well, yeah, the
reason I'm telling you this, you got .com.
Well, I'm saying
you got .com. You can get away from all that because the rich people, San Francisco is going to become the first AI city.
I'm gonna tell you why the Mexicans are there and they're gonna have a relevance, because they build houses and they don't drive the buses. I live in LA. Everybody that's 40 to 45, 50, 60, black, they drive the bus. They drive the metro. Everybody that went to Dorsey, everybody that went to Crenshaw, go to Fillmore, go to San Francisco. Every old baller, every old hustler, every old gangster drives the Muni. They drive the ECR. They drive the Samtrans. They drive the Oakland Tribune. What are the Mexicans doing? Building the houses. They are,
but let me explain something. The people that are driving the buses, they are partaking in the infrastructure because transportation is infrastructure.
Yeah,
a lot of the people. Listen, just let me help you out a little bit. A lot of the people that you're discussing that are building houses and all that, a lot of those people are undocumented and they don't have licenses.
So they know. Well, this is what they do.
The majority of people that you're seeing that are working on houses don't even have the license to do so.
Well, this what they do know that I see. That's the difference between us. They know mathematics. So black people know how to turn the key to turn the bus on, but the Mexicans know mathematics on how to build a house.
I want you to stop that because that's a damn lie that we don't know how to build houses. Who you think building house? No, wait a minute.
I don't see no black people building houses.
Who you think building? Wait a minute.
I want to ask.
Let me finish.
Where do you see black people?
I see black people
houses?
building. I see them building and working construction all the time.
I don't.
Who you think working at the Longshoreman? The long dock. Who you think working down there?
I didn't say longshoremen.
They're part of the
said
building houses,
construction.
getting the supplies in, getting the wood. Look, man,
Yeah,
black people build houses in Texas.
and
They
you're
build houses in
overlooking infrastructure.
I'm talking about California. I'm talking about California.
No, well, the problem is
California.
No, the
what
problem
I
is
see in California is black people not participating in jobs that have to do with mathematics or using your mind, but they do know how to
that's not true.
Drive the metro train.
That's not
and they know how to drive
just
the
let me
bus.
help you. Let me help you out.
That's not true,
Let me
bro.
help you out with the transportation. Those muni jobs are getting people stable. They're getting people 401ks, CalPERS. They're getting people retirements. They're getting people houses. They're sending kids off to college. So to make a statement like that, that's just. I just think that's an area you're not.
You don't think
not that educated.
You got city
I
painters.
didn't say
You don't
it.
think you got city carpenters?
I didn't say
The
it.
people that's working on my kitchen or something like that.
No, I mean, I understand. I understand what he's saying. I think the way he's saying it is maybe not what you guys are getting to. What he's saying is, yes, there are a lot of Hispanic people building houses, but yes, Muni, the number one job for black people in San Francisco is Muni bus drivers. But that does have a pension. That does have a union that enables them, black people, to have a family, to get their kids to go to college. It's a good job. They make a lot of money. Muni drivers got overtime. They got one of the strongest unions in this city.
I didn't say it's not a good job.
No,
I'm just
but I know
saying
what you're saying.
That doesn't allow you to control anything in San Francisco to drive the bus.
But your focus is just San Francisco, right?
Well, I'm saying.
I'm looking at the whole Bay Area.
Wait, no, because I want to know what working for a contractor, what control that gives you.
I'm saying
none. Absolutely none.
Well, I'll say it again, that it requires a level of mathematics. It requires a level of expertise to do a job on construction. You're just not nailing nails.
You can't just hop behind a wheel and drive a bus either, brother. You have to have a Class B license.
You can because
you can't.
No, you cannot.
No, you can't.
I'm not minimizing driving the bus. Any person who makes
let me ask you something. You saying that black people don't know mathematics? That's what
I'm saying.
No, wait a minute.
I didn't say.
But the way you saying it is that you saying the way you coming out saying your first thing you saying is it requires mathematics. So what you're saying to me is that you think black people don't know. See, this is the problem. We think like the white men think.
No.
Listen, we always put out. We always put
hired. I'm saying this is what I'm saying because you can't. I don't want you to put words in my mouth because I can speak for myself and I am an articulate. So I'm saying that. If you work on a construction site, you have to have a level of mathematics.
I worked on a construction site.
If you did,
just see where you're going with it.
If you did or you do, you understand.
I don't do. I did when I was young.
Just let him finish.
Let him finish.
I mean, is there a debate that you have to have a level of mathematics to work in construction?
It's called what job you got.
So most of the people that I see that are building the homes in Los Angeles, and then I see that are building the homes.
It's just tape measuring.
I mean, goddamn.
I'm in real estate and I drive the bus.
Let me clean this up real quick. Hey, let me clean this up because I think we're getting off topic.
Yeah.
Let me clean this up. Okay. Before the Hispanic people were in construction, guess who it was? It was the Irish people, at least in San Francisco. Yeah. So every job site was all Irish, okay?
That's right.
And that is because they were, I won't say they were illegals. A lot of them were, but it's where you can get people who are illegals and you can get a job force and you can pay them less because they're not citizens of the United States.
Yes.
Okay?
Yep.
So if I'm building a house, I know the material is going to cost X amount of dollars. But I want to get the cheapest labor that I can because that maximizes my profit. So am I going to go out and get the union guy who is a union electrician? Or can I get one of these guys maybe down on 3rd Street or
Yep.
on Army Street, which is called Cesar Chavez, which are going to change it to something else. But can I get one of those guys and I can get them under the table and pay them cash and I can pocket the rest? Of course, I'm going to do that.
So,
So that's where that leads.
Wait. Just
A construction site, you are more skilled than pulling
No,
out the tape.
necessarily.
not.
I mean,
Have you ever worked construction?
Hey, the thing is, I'll end with
have
this.
you ever
Wait.
worked
I'll end
No.
with this,
Yeah.
and then we should transition over to Sherman. I appreciate that perspective.
Driving the bus and building a house is a little different.
Yeah, but what we're going to
I'm
look
gonna
at.
leave it at that.
What about
Yeah,
building the bus?
Wait. You don't. It's not just build a house. Okay, you have different components to building a house. But I'll say this again: driving a bus, you're partaking in infrastructure as far as transportation is concerned. That it will forever be valuable to any city in any state. The Department of Transportation will always have a huge bag for you. That type of rhetoric deters a lot of youngsters or a lot of ignorant people to move away from jobs that will take care of you and your family for the rest of your life. 3 gentlemen on this.
And so,
wait.
just walk. Don't even worry about the bus drive.
3 gentlemen on this panel have partaken in actual careers within the city that deals within infrastructure. Okay, so I just want to clarify that driving a bus is a great thing because it builds infrastructure, and infrastructure as far as transportation is going nowhere. That you can find it in every city, county throughout the state of California. And if you hold that license, you're able to go get money.
Driving a bus is a good job.
And have
Driving
a
bus
career.
is a good job, but it has nothing to do with having power in the city. So
if you don't think the Department of Transportation has no power, then
no.
Just walk. Just walk and get on the freeway. Walk home to LA. Walk to wherever you're gonna go. Don't get on don't drive. No transportation. You just use your legs.
No, I said
Don't look.
I said having a job with the bus is a good job, but what does it have to do with being powerful in the city?
The unions, the unions is what it has to do with being powerful in the city. I keep saying that's why the main thing I'm bringing up is infrastructure. Transportation is a huge pillar when it comes to infrastructure. If you take out transportation in any city, county.
Hey, Marcus. Yes, we gotta move.
Well, I just want to say this last point since you
We gotta move forward.
Go ahead.
Sorry. We gotta move forward. Hey, this was a good conversation, but we gotta move forward to talk to Sherman. I don't like, he got kids, he got family, he got things to do too. But I brought you on, the main reason I brought you on to talk about your show, but also about what can people do. I always question when the fire season comes, why people don't prepare their houses to catch on fire, because especially in places where it's a good chance you can catch, like if you're living in these areas, like in Southern California, where there's a lot of wood, a lot of trees, a lot of heat, same up here, and going towards Sacramento, these areas. And even now, when houses catch on fire in the city, they burn so fast because of maybe within the areas. I don't know how the things burn so fast now compared to when I was a kid. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's the materials or the paint they're using or whatever they're using. What can they do to prevent their house from a fire? How can they spray their house? Can they do anything to prevent? What So I always had these questions, like, why don't they lay down that pink stuff before the fire starts?
Well, there's 2 different types, right? You got people who live in the city. So we got city firefighting, and then you got people who live like out in the woods, so wildland firefighting. So it's 2 different, things that you can do. Like in the city, you don't have all this brush around your house like you would in like LA County, for example, or Oakland Hills or Marin or something like that. And it's about keeping the brush a perimeter around your house, usually 0 to about 5 feet. And then you can go, you got a zone 1, what they call it. And that's usually about 5 to 30 feet, and then zone 2, 30 to 100 feet. And, the common mistakes, I even wrote it down so I can make sure I can hit every point. The bark and mulch against your house. Okay, firewood stacked on the porches. Bushes next to windows. Trees that overhang the roof. Gutters full of leaves. Now, those are the main common mistakes right there, because what you should do is every winter, before the rainy season, before the lightning and thunder, or before the summer, get out and get your gutters clean. Get those leaves and all that brush from that tree that's dropping all that onto your roof. And a lot of people, they'll have trees overhanging their house and they won't cut them. Because it's expensive, right? You got to get an arborist in some places because everybody's so green. So you got to get somebody who knows about the tree to cut it. You can't just go and get some guy off the street and say, hey, can you get a chainsaw and cut this? Or, you could do it yourself, but according to how big the tree is, you might get injured. So that costs a lot of money. People can't necessarily afford that. But they can clean their gutters and they can make sure that the brush around their house is clear, but they don't do it. I mean, you see how many houses where you see the grass and the weeds and you're like, damn, I wish they would mow that damn lawn. People, man, I'm not going to say people are lazy, but people are lazy.
But it could be seniors that's old. They can't get out. Yeah, there's a lot of different reasons why. Because I just used to wonder why they don't have programs. Now, this is where our taxpayers' money can work well for us. They have programs to go around and make sure that we're paying taxpayers to mow the seniors 65 or 70, find out if they physically can cut it down. If they got the money. If they don't, we have a program where we can send out to cut this wood. But I also wanted to ask you about
the biggest thing that when you talk about the budget, and just like this LA fire, they were $17 million short of their budget, right? The first thing that they won't cut the city apparatus and the firemen first. The first thing they cut is clearing the brush. That's the first thing they cut. And Gavin Newsom, he is notorious. This man has had 4 major fires under his watch. And every time he never funds cutting the brush because that's extra, right? And he always thinks, well, they have, I've been to Japan 5 times. They have modern sprinklers. They have these huge sprinklers that come out the ground and shoot water, not like the ones you would see at the football field. I mean, they got major. These things will put out a fire like that. And all it takes is them to fund it. Wow. That's it. It's not brain surgery. You're not reinventing the wheel. All it takes is money. And you see all the money they waste, all the corruption that they have. God. So they have the money, they just don't want to do it. It's not important to them.
Right.
Can I ask you a question, Brother Tillman? So the Palisades that was out here, I know a lot of people that were in that fire, and they kind of feel like it was not like purposely set, but like
negligence.
There was a motive to do it. And so did LA not do like what you said with the brushes? They didn't do it?
So the thing about LA is the brothers, because there's a lot of brothers in the fire department down there.
Sure.
And they have been talking about this for at least 30 years.
Wow.
At least 30.
Wow.
If there was a fire down there that it could take out the whole city because they didn't clear the brush, they wouldn't put the money into the infrastructure. They wouldn't put the money into making sure if the hydrants were bare of water that they could siphon water out of the pools because there's a system to that. And it costs money, but when you think about it, it's just like insurance. It's pennies on the dollars.
Wow.
Compared to what it's going to cost when you wipe out a whole community like was done. They've been man, we'd go to conventions down in LA and one of the chiefs would get up and one of the speakers would be about LA fire, about clearing the brush. The man been talking about that forever. It wasn't a matter of if, it was always a matter of when, and they would always say that. And they didn't fund it. They never think it's important.
Wow, I didn't even know that. You would never know that unless you talk to somebody like yourself, because I didn't know that You know, because that's what I hear you know on the news, brush fire, but you're not funding getting rid of the brush fire. So what do you expect?
So my question, like a place like the beach down there in Palisades and Marys, they're close to the ocean, right?
Yes, right by the
And
ocean.
what I don't understand is they have the capability of building pumps in the ocean that can pump water, up to they can actually pump that water to help if major fires they can't get.
Well,
But
they could
also,
do something like what we do here in San Francisco. Like San Francisco has cisterns, right? So after the earthquake, they built cisterns. And if you go and if you're driving down the street and you'll see a bunch of cobblestones or in a circle or in a square, there is water right there.
Right.
Okay.
Oh.
They could do that in LA, but they just never build the infrastructure. We also have tandems where we have hose tenders where we could take water from the bay, and that's when we fought the fire in the 1989 earthquake.
That's what I said.
So
that's what I was
they can do all these stuff in other places. They just don't want to invest in it.
Yeah. But let me ask you this too.
Yeah.
For a person, like some people houses did not burn. Because one lady got on and said that she bought this machine and she bought these chemicals from these kids that they built, and she paid about $1,000 or $2,000 for these chemical bags, and she was able to spray her whole house down her yard and everything before the fire got, and her house didn't burn.
Right.
So I'm just, why is none of that promoted for all the people living in these areas? Why is that not promoted? And also, I think communities got to be smarter too. Like, if I live in Palisade, all of them got money. Why y'all don't have a fire club where y'all donate money to get a portable mow lawns to mow the wood and all that stuff down there? And why they haven't organized? This is something that I trip on, because some of the people are rich enough to organize their own community, and get stuff done.
I would say the thing that is important is these cities have budgets and they don't put the money into doing the things that they're supposed to do to protect their citizens. They put their money into things that nobody cares about. The thing I hate about a politician is they come up with a problem that nobody cares about and say they got a solution, and then they fund it. Okay? Nobody cares about that. All we care about: clean drinking water, clean air to breathe, electricity that works, a school that's not dilapidated with teachers that are competent, and then keeping me safe from crack addicts, drug addicts, and poop on the street. Give me the basics, and then give me the pie in the sky stuff later after you got the basics done. But most of these cities don't even have the basics done. Okay? And thank God we live in San Francisco, because after these earthquakes, man, they put the money into the infrastructure to save this city if something happens. But now that it happened down in the Pacific Palisades in LA, and hopefully this kid, Spencer Pratt, because he's been talking about all this stuff and I've been listening to him, he's going to put the money into this stuff.
It's interesting that you say that. So you rocking with Pratt, huh? Because I live in LA. So
yeah, man. Hey, there's no ID. I'm coming down there and vote for this kid.
Okay, so you're not rocking with Bass.
No, hey,
Hell no.
My thing is what you see is actions speak louder than words.
I mean,
and look around LA.
He's gotten my attention, definitely. I wouldn't be surprised if he won, but Karen Bass got the machine like a Willie Brown, but Pratt's coming. He's hard. He's coming.
Man, LA used to be live, man. Come on. LA, you go down to that Skid Row, it used to be like 4 or 5 blocks. It's 50 blocks now.
Yeah, Skid Row is another world.
It's crazy.
It's like I'm a grown ass man at 49 years old, but if I walked through Skid Row, I would be scared.
Nobody should live like that, man. Why would you vote for a person that allows that?
If all 4 of us, Skid Row's so bad that if all 4 of us, I don't know you, brother, tell me, but I know that you, a brother like us, if we walk down a Skid Row block, you would be scared. No police, lawless, anything can happen. You wouldn't want your worst enemy to go past
It's worse than the
in-
TL?
It's like the tenderloin in
It's
the
worse than the TL?
1980s. It's like the tenderloin in the 80s, man.
Well. It's like Brother Tillman said. Tenderloin is small. San Francisco is a microcosm to the Skid Row. You could drop.
Well, let me tell you this.
Skid Row is huge.
I know I've been to Chicago several times now. Let me tell you something about Baltimore, St. Louis. We all got bad places everywhere you go. San Francisco got its pockets. They done cleaned up a lot of stuff. But anyway, the point is this: like I said, the point is this: poor people got the power. They just don't know it. And they don't realize that, say poor people decide not to go to work for one day, this whole goddamn economics would collapse. And the Walmarts would be closed, the Targets would be closed, the grocery stores would be closed. If everybody decided to say, let's see how this country operates when none of us go to work one day. And I know for a fact that this thing would collapse. It's like what Trump is doing. The airports are out of control. The bus companies are out. The trains are out of control. Tracks are falling apart. Planes are falling apart. Things are closing. The bus lines is less. This is less. People being fired all over the place. They're using AI to say they're going to be the new people. And that's why AI answers the phone every time you call. So all this different stuff. Can you imagine in 10 years if they don't win the Senate in November or the Congress, at least one of them in November, and Trump get both of them, that 2 years he got left, it's going to be something. You better get your shotgun. You better sit back in your house, but if they don't start looking at how white people done got really brave to say something to you a little different.
Let me finish this. Let me read off this list for people.
Sure.
If people are listening and they want to protect their home and they live in a wild land, or they have trees and brush and a lot of grass around their house, we got a zone 0. Okay, so 0 to 5 feet from your house. Mm-hmm. Remove dry leaves and pine needles. Remove mulch touching the house. Move the fire piles or the firewood piles away from your house. And don't put it. A lot of people, they get the wood and they put it right under their porch.
Yeah.
Put that
now,
away.
let me ask you something, Circle. What
That's
if you're renting and you notice all that around your house where you're renting, the brush and the stuff? How can you get your landlord to cut that? Come in, and because a lot of times landlords are just slumlords. They don't want. Is it a law that we can do in some cities?
Well, it would have to be an apartment building, because then the prevention guys come out. Like if you live in an apartment building, we do fire inspections for apartment buildings. But if you live in a house, no one's coming to that, right? Like if you're renting a house, no one's going to come and inspect that house. But if you live in an apartment, then you can make a complaint to the fire prevention department of the fire department, and someone's going to come out and inspect it.
So how many units do it have to be? What is an apartment? 5 units, 6 units, 4 units?
We come out, it has to be, it's usually 5 stories and above.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, at my house, once a year, the fire department comes to my house and they inspect our yard. This is when I lived in the Oakland Hills.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Oakland's different. They have, obviously each municipality have different rules about the fire prevention. But in Oakland, the crazy thing about Oakland, because the Oakland Fire Department has a lot of brothers in it, and when the brothers come out to inspect the houses, a lot of the Caucasian people won't let them in because they think that they're trying to rob.
Get robbed. Yeah.
This has happened, I don't know how many times over there. And so they have to verify that a person in a uniform.
Hey, no, I'm one of them. Hey, them brothers be looking rough, man. In this case, I remember it was a white dude, and he had like this huge beard, and he knocking on my door, and I'm looking like, oh shit, what's going on, But he was with you guys, man.
Hey, Brother Tillman, do you know my cousin? His name is Lawrence Powell. He's a San Francisco Fire Department guy.
Oh, Lawrence Powell, is he at the airport now?
I don't know where he's at, but he's a veteran. Larry Powell. That's
I know.
And his brother's Alonzo Powell, the baseball player.
I know.
That's my cousin.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so-
Sherman was a high-end, world-class high school baseball player. He played for me,
No,
and
he did not, man. He
yes,
never played for you, man.
yes, he did. Sherman, let the boy know. We traveled all over the state. We played games everywhere, and Sherman was you played outfield and first base and third. So
outfield.
yeah,
Outfield and pitch.
yeah, he pitched everything, and so we had on that particular team, we had at least 8 or 9 guys go pro. And we went against Harvey Pulliam. That's one of his nemesis right there. That's our family, man. So that's one of Sherman's nemesis, Harvey.
I think you know my cousin Alonzo Powell. He played for the Seattle Mariners. That was Larry's brother.
Yeah, he played with Crenshaw and all them. Derek Crenshaw.
Alonzo Powell. He played with all them. Yeah.
So Sherman. We played for the Senators, and we had one of the best teams in the country one year.
You guys come from a time that I wish we got the tail end of, the golden age of Black San Francisco. You were in San Francisco when you could live in San Francisco and be Black and be conscious and have a girlfriend, have a family. Them niggas been gone since 1990, 1991. They gone. So I'm saying that in hyperbole, in a jokingly way, but I'm just saying that, that's not there. I think that a lot of people in San Francisco, because I'm not like I've moved on from San Francisco. I was born in St. Luke's in 1976. I'm always going to be San Francisco. But a lot of people get stuck in the nostalgia of San Francisco, the past of San Francisco, and that clouds their mind on the reality of what's going on in San Francisco. So I never let that get to me. I'm not saying there's none of y'all. I'm not saying there's anybody particularly. I'm just speaking in general that San Francisco is really not a good place for a brother. So it hasn't been for decades. And so when you said what you said, Roy, about the Black people that in San Francisco that we all are familiar with, we all know Double Rock, Sunnydale, KO, Turk Street, OC, wherever.
Let me tell you something. Before you was born, Avery, Black people went all the way up to where Sears, USF, that was all Black. Wow. All the way to the Panhandle. Hey, you got to remember, the Fillmore was Black all the way to Nob Hill.
Jesus Christ.
So the things that y'all don't understand, when the 60s, you'll see B.B. King performing, the OJ, they be down there on the Fillmore performing. Restaurant, store, every store in the Fillmore was Black.
So this is the thing too. We gotta get over that.
Yes.
There was an attack on Black communities, not just in San Francisco. So we got to get out of a nostalgia of where San Francisco used to be and all of the communities that are
genocide.
in America. That I'm talking about in LA.
Well, you know what's next is Oakland, Vallejo, Richmond. They're doing it right now. What they did to San Francisco.
Well, even LA, even LA, they tore down the Jordan Down projects.
I have a question for you. Since you're in LA, and since Karen Bass has been mayor, what has she done for the Black community?
It was looking pretty bad.
And it's still 2 million Black people.
I wouldn't say that she's done nothing specifically for the Black community, because remember what I was stating earlier, that like individual accolades don't mean nothing to me if collectively we're toe up. So collectively, when I see the Black community in LA, Leimert Park, South Central, parts of Pasadena, Altadena, that people don't even talk about Altadena. They talk about the Palisades, but Altadena was a Black community that got burned to the ground, and they getting screwed over right now, which was a place in Pasadena that was a Black community that went back from the 50s and 60s, because Black people went and got homes in Altadena because you couldn't get homes in LA. So, there was redlined in Culver City, everywhere in LA. You was lucky to get a home. So Black people was able to go to Pasadena and they got homes, and they created this community called Altadena that got burned down right after the Palisades at the same time, that you don't talk about because it's Black. But
Yeah, but she don't talk about it either.
she don't. She so don't. So I think Karen Bass could lose because she's more of a, I wouldn't say like a carpetbagger, like a politician, but homelessness is everywhere. It's lawless. I mean, LA is really bad, and it's the same thing. Like you try to ride with her, she's black, and you try to rock with her, she didn't do a good job. She didn't do a good job.
But can we agree? Can we agree to this as a person who's worked in corporate and who's held jobs in different positions, on down to being an entrepreneur, running my own business? Can we agree that when you're a black person and you're working within the structure of any corporation, that it's very challenging for you to have any impact because of the systemic racism that you're up against within those systems?
Well, I think that you have a point, but then you have to go to the point where, like, if
can I ask Sherman? Can I have Sherman? I know you got something from me because we talk all the time. But
sure.
Can I have Sherman? Because Sherman has been a firefighter forever, and so he's been behind the scenes, as a black man trying to do some major, overhaul, trying to help out as much as he can. It's challenging for us though. So could you speak to that, Sherman, or you think it's just fair across the board for our black leaders as well?
It's London used to talk about microaggressions, and you see that where you'll be one of the only black people in the room, and you'll have an idea, and everyone will glaze over that idea, and then 5 minutes later somebody else will say the same idea that you just said, and everybody will think it's the greatest thing they've ever heard in the world and better than sliced bread with sugar on it. And you're like, I just said that exact same thing. So there's also a lot of people, especially when you get up to like middle management and management situations, that just don't want to hear from you. They don't want to hear from you. They don't want to be instructed by you. They're always questioning what you have to say and thinking that they're listening to somebody else because they don't look like you. And you come up with that a lot. And yes, I think Caucasian people do also have other people that are screwed up that screw them over, because I've seen it both ways. But yes, I think we have more of it than anybody else because we stand out more. I don't know why everyone is so threatened. That's the one thing I couldn't stand. In 27 years, I always would say, why is everyone so threatened by me? I'm educated. All I'm trying to do is make my little slice of the world better. And I want to do the job the right way. And you laid out the rules. I'm just following the rules you set out. But when I follow the rules you set out, you don't like it. I got to bend those rules. But then when it's my turn, then you want to hold me accountable to those rules that you don't want to hold everybody else to. And especially as a captain. I was the only black captain downtown for quite a while. And I would try to do some of the things I see the other captains do. And oh no, I could not do the same thing.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
That's what I wanted to hear.
You can't do that.
That's what I wanted to hear, Sherman. Right there.
You can't do that.
That's what I wanted to hear. So when it comes to these people, and I'm not taking up for nobody that's in office at all, because I'm not there. But when it comes to our brothers and sisters that have worked themselves into these positions, don't think that they can just go in and make certain changes or make certain calls that another person that's not of their ethnicity could do. It's more of a challenge when we get in those seats. Just like if we haven't learned anything from Trump, that's like blatantly clear. That's a white man getting in there doing whatever the fuck he want to do, period. So you can't compare Obama's terms with Trump. Obama's black. 99% of whatever he was trying to do was vetoed. Oh, nope, can't do that, can't do that, can't do that. There's red tape all around him. So then I hate when black people come on and say, well, Obama didn't do nothing for us. Well, goddamn, What could he really do for us
Hey, not necessarily.
in that
bro.
situation?
Not necessarily. No. You got to understand something. Obama was with them. Y'all got to get out of. He's like Clarence Thomas. Y'all got to get out of when these presidents. You got to remember, Obama's Bush's cousin. They cousins, and so you got to realize that these people are bred to be. He was bred to be president, the first black. But he's not the first black president. When it comes to history, he's not. But the fact is that. The older you get, the more you start seeing, like Sherman is 2,000 years old now. So the older you get, the more you see, the more I'm just messing with Sherman, but the more you see, I'll give you a prime example. I'm just going to tell the story right quick. There were 2 baseball teams back in our day in the 80s. It was the Seals and the Senators. We were the 2 best baseball teams in Northern California. We went through some teams. We went down to LA, whooped their ass, come back up from going there. We whooped everybody. Now, we both qualified for the World Series, but since we had brothers on our teams, they forced us to play a series against these white teams to get to the World Series. We had already qualified. But this stuff been going on since time. Anytime black people think they got power, somewhere they step in. They trying to charge London Breed with something now. All I'm saying is, whatever we have power, just like he's a captain, I was in the police department. I had a pretty good position with Park and Rec. The thing is, when you have power as a black person, they always fear. It's a fear, and we don't understand what is the fear of us, because nowhere it shows that we've been aggressive towards any other culture but our own, as far as our hoods and all that. But far as any other culture out here, we ain't chased it. And then they teach the Asians to hate us, don't talk to the black, the Spanish, the Indian, anything that comes into America.
Well, one thing I thought was interesting is the only politician I know who was black, who I really admired and who really got things done, was Willie Brown.
That's what I'm not telling you. That's what I be telling you.
I mean, I every time I see him, I always say, I don't know why these politicians don't listen to you, especially if they're black, because you knew how he knew the ins and outs, and he was unapologetically black. He would hire a lot of black people around him.
He saved our jobs.
And he used to have that meeting on Fridays, and everybody would sit around, the community brothers would sit around, and he'd just ask, what's going on in your neighborhood? What's going on with you? And everybody's drinking and just having a good time. But that's how he stayed connected, and he knew what was going on in each sphere of the city. And the best Willie Brown story, he would say something, and his aides would be like, you can't do that. You can't do that. And he would say, my job is to tell you what I want. Your job is to make it happen. And if you can't do it, we'll get somebody else in here who can.
That's right.
And so he was different from a lot of these other politicians. And the first thing they do is they want to appease the other side. They want to appease everybody. Yeah. So they surround themselves with people who are friends of other people, but not friends of them. And so that's who blocks them from getting things done all the time.
Well, Willie Brown was not only the mayor of San Francisco. I mean, later on in his life, this was later. The brother's 92 years old. I used to sit with Willie Brown at 1300 Fillmore. Like you say, he used to have a bar at the bar, a seat where it was just for him and nobody could sit there. And I used to go in the 1300 Fillmore back in the day and go sit and go talk with Willie Brown for many times. So I'm very familiar with him. He was the Speaker of the House in California. And he was an attorney for the old pimps and the hoes back in San Francisco, the old Fillmore days.
Well, he used to be a pimp.
So Willie knows
Fillmore Slim is his best friend.
Yeah, Willie knows the pulse of old San Francisco.
Selassie, your camera is frozen. Selassie, your camera is frozen. Okay, now
I'm sorry. I'm just saying that Willie Brown is old school San Francisco. Like I said, he represented the pimps and the hoes back in the day, and then he became an attorney and was a Speaker of the House in the Assembly in Sacramento, and he became a mayor years later. So in his late 60s. So just saying that he knew, he's old school black, he's old school San Francisco. He came from a different time, and he's a legend in all of that. And so San Francisco would never be like that again. It would never be that again.
It wasn't that when he came there.
Well, I want to touch on one thing that Marcus said, and then I gotta go because it's getting late.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Marcus had said and asked, did I find it hard? The higher you get up, the harder did you find it, hard to get things done, and did you see systemic racism?
Right.
And I don't think it's the system. And what do I mean by that? It's not necessarily each individual that's stopping you from rising or doing things. The system is built to stop. Here's a perfect example. When I had about 25 years in, I was number 5 or 6 in seniority and captains in the whole city. So I knew all the players, right? Because I was 2-time president of the Black Firefighters. I knew all the players. I knew people at City Hall. I knew everybody, right? So I'm trying to get something done. And instead of just going through, you got to go through the chain of command. That's by the book, right? But I know, being in the department for 25 years, that you can just call up the person you need to get something done, and then they would just do it. So I call up my buddy who's downtown over, because we had to get, I wanted to get this homeless dude out the back of our firehouse. He was on the other side of the fence, and we would go over there and tell him to leave, and then he'd come back, and I was tired of it. So I wanted to get the DPW dudes to get over there and do it. So I called them directly. Man, one of these chiefs called me up and said, hey, you're supposed to go through me. Why did you call so-and-so? And I said, well, I called him up because I know him. Yeah. And I knew he would get it done. Yeah. And I didn't want to go through you, because if I went through you, you would have to go through somebody else. Yeah. And by the time I get it done, it would just be snowball. Somebody's car got broken into. I want to get this done today. Yeah. Well, from now on, you have to go through me. And I just sat there and I went, now I finally get to the point in my career where I can get shit done and just call people up and get it done. Now, this motherfucker up here is stopping me from doing the same thing that all these white boys be doing. Yeah. They don't call the chief. They just call directly to the person they need to get something done and get it done. And now he's trying to stopgap me so I can't get shit done. And so what did I do the next time? I just did it anyway.
Yeah.
Cause what he gonna do? Cause when you're not afraid, when you get to the moment in your job when all they gonna do is, what are they gonna do? What, are you gonna write me up? Okay, write me up. So what? I'm not gonna get no days off for it. So go ahead and do it. You gonna put something in my job? I don't care at this point, because when I would get in trouble, like the first 14 years we didn't have tests. So I never got written up. I never got in trouble. But soon as I finished in the top on that lieutenant's list, all of a sudden they're trying to do something to me. Soon as I finished in the top on the captain's list, all of a sudden I got all this paperwork out of nowhere, man. Yeah. And one time I wasn't even, something happened at the airport. I'm a city firefighter. Yeah. They put my name in it, and I got to go testify about something I had nothing to do with. Yeah. But if I don't do it, it's going to cost me my lieutenant's job. If I don't do it, it's going to cost me my captain's job. But before I was a threat, they leave me alone. But once I start moving up the ranks and start finishing at the top of these lists on them tests, all of a sudden, here, I got to go and do this and do that. And I was like, man, it's crazy.
Yeah. So, I want to tell you, man, I appreciate you coming on, Selassie, giving us your political. And believe me, y'all get his music. Is beautiful. He raps about political things and many other things. Also want to appreciate Mr. Captain Tillman for coming in. Was a captain in San Francisco Police Department, Fire Department. Also, we got Marcus Hughes here, one of the great real estate, and I'm Arthur Rory M. Smith. And we'll be back on Tuesday for the California Urban Podcast. I'll be on all week. One day I'm gonna get Sherman to come on so we can cuss each other out.
All right, brother. Just close the show, man. Just say goodbye.
I want you to come back, Selassie. Come, man. Start joining. Start coming on, man. We be on every.
I definitely. I thank you guys for having me on, Brother Tillman. It was a great show. Thank you for your perspectives. It was a great thing. Thank you for teaching me some stuff, and thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother. Nice meeting you.
All right,
Nice
brother.
meeting you too.
All right.
All right, son.
All right, Marcus.
All right, one love, brother. We'll talk.
Hey,
All
we
right.
got a call anyway. Don't have this black culture because the first thing we say, let's join without helping our own self first to get our stuff right. Okay, now I'm changing the subject. Okay, so the subject is changed. Just go out there, shake your ass, and show yourself and scream and holler. But that's what Marcus said.
I said, shake your ass.
He said, just go out there and get it.